If you're wondering why I look extra sexy today and you can see my light brown eyes, well, I don't really know. I think it's because I did a clean shave, not a clean shave, but like a really nice beard trim and showered and cut all this nasty stuff off. But today's video is going to be about Seneca, fasting, dead mentors, and a lot of other cool stuff to come. So I am right now in my 35th hour of fasting. So I haven't done fasting in a while. I mean, I do my intermittent fasting every day, obviously, the 18-hour, 18-6 or 14-8, just depending on how I feel. Or 16-8 or 18-6. So I do that every day. I've been doing that for maybe 3 years now, 2.5 years or so, since strength camp, since I started there. And I've done tons of 48-hour fasts, and I've done one 72-hour fast. And this fast here is gonna be a 10-day fast. It's gonna be my first one. So I want a lot of motivation from all of you, a lot of inspiration. Keep the comments coming, motivate me, encourage me, give me likes and some amazing comments so I can continue and have you by my side giving me a pat on the back and your hand on my shoulder. So I'm in a park right now. Leaves are falling. This is Toronto, really, really nice. I just did a badass workout. At the end, I asked my trainer, hey, could you tell that I was fasting today? That I'm on a 36-hour or 34-hour fast at the time? And she's like, nope. Which is amazing. So let's see what happens. 10-day fast coming. I'm gonna still drink tea and coffee. I don't drink that much tea anymore, but I might do some yerba mate and give me some kind of treat. My light brown eyes, huh? It's so sexy. So let's talk about Seneca. Let's talk about ego. Let's talk about fasting. Let's talk about Latin dancing. And let's talk about things like that. So first, why is this video called, or this series called the Dead Mentor series? So I sincerely believe that around you, if you have a lot of losers and a lot of people who are putting you down, then don't hang out with them. Don't hang out with anyone. It's better to hang out with yourself. Be in solitude, like Thoreau used to be in his cottage, and then how Carl Jung used to go for 2 weeks in his cottage in the forest and be in solitude. I think solitude is really, really important. Now, the way to interact with people, like Tom Hanks did with Wilson in Castaway, you want to have dead mentors, right? What I mean by that is mentors that you follow, that you respect, that you really resonate with, and you read and watch videos and stuff like that, and you want to be the product of those mentors, okay? So the dead mentor that we're going to talk about today is Seneca. Now Seneca the Younger, for those of you who know who Seneca is, he was the richest person in the Roman Empire. So this is what, 2,000 years ago. And he became so powerful that the emperor at the time, Nero, N-E-R-O, ordered that he commit suicide. So back then, what usually happened is, if you're a noble person and they want to kill you, they say, hey, you know what, we're not gonna lynch you or something, just go and commit suicide on your own, do it nobly, do it in the technique you want, and that's it, you're dead. So Seneca became so powerful at the time that Nero ordered him to commit suicide. And then he wrote up this entire treatise, this entire manuscript on the noble way to commit suicide. Beautiful, beautiful person. Now Seneca, he had 300 million, I think in Roman times it's called denarius. Yeah, that's how dinars happen. Dinar, like in the UAE and Dubai and shit, the currency is dinar. It comes from denarius, from the Roman Empire. Actually, a lot of things, I'm reading in Sapiens, a lot of things that we think are from our culture are from other cultures that you're not even aware, right? He talked about how Italians think pasta is from the Italian, Italy, but it's actually from people who took over Italy. Anyway, we'll get into that in another video. But if you think like spices, for example, in India, right? Spices actually came from Mexico. So if you're an Indian like me, or Indian Pakistani, and you're putting all these spices, you're like, yeah, I'm proud to be an Indian because we invented spices. Not really. It came from Mexico. But we did invent the number system, right? So Indians, the Arabic numerals were actually invented by Indians, and the Arabs spread them and gave them their own name. Arabic numerals actually look very different. The ones that Arabs use, they look very different. Like the V is a 5, I think that's Arabic numerals. But the Arabic numerals, when you call like the 1 and the 2, the 3, like we do in math, those were invented by Indians. Those were discovered, sort of brought forth in the world by the Indians, the Hindus. And they also discovered the number 0. So just to keep that in mind. Now let's go back to Seneca. So one thing that I just conveyed to you is that Seneca was the richest person in the Roman Empire. Now, what did he do? He was sort of like a VC. He was sort of, he would give loans, he would invest in people, sort of like an investment banker, venture capitalist type guy. That's what Seneca was. And the cool thing about Seneca is that he denounced materialistic possessions. He didn't really have possessions. And he did these 10-day fasts. So in my bag right now, right here, I have this book called Letters from a Stoic. And it's by Seneca. And he has all these letters inside that he would write to people. And this book is full of those letters. So if you go to letter, I think it's 13 or letter 11, it's called it's letter 22, I believe, because 11 and 13 are on groundless fear. But one of those letters, I think it's 22, something like that, it's called Festivities and Fasting, or Fasting and Festivities. And there he talks about his 10-day fasts. And imagine a guy who is this rich, who doesn't give a shit about materialistic possessions, and does these 10-day fasts. And he also went on these 30-day only rice and beans regimen. So Tim Ferriss does this stuff, and other people do this stuff too. And I learned this all from Tim Ferriss, by the way. Like, things about Seneca. I also learned it from Nassim Taleb. He talks about Seneca a lot. If you haven't read Seneca, please, 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 I urge you, go read Seneca. Now let's get into ego. Seneca is a person who, obviously through his actions, you can imagine, he didn't really have that much of an ego, because he realized that at any time, his 300 million denarii could go away. He could go bankrupt. There could be some kind of financial meltdown, or some kind of war that happened, or he could just like get killed or anything, right? So he was very much prepared for those rainy days, a little bit like Warren Buffett, right? Now the thing about Seneca is that he was a Stoic. So there's something known as Stoicism, Stoicism. And Stoic philosophy talks about these things, how in the world you want to be, you don't want to be involved in the materialistic thoughts of the world, the materialistic, the mundane, the hedonistic lifestyle. You want to be minimalistic. You want to subtract shit from your life. And we're going to get into a lot of that minimalism stuff, especially when I give you that 30-day challenge. If you're not on the Facebook group, Biggest Balls in the Game, add your ass ASAP. It's a Facebook group, balls with a Z. Add yourself. We're going to have 30-day challenges. We're going to have a lot of cool stuff, a lot of bonuses that are going to be exclusive to that Facebook group and nowhere else. So I urge you do that ASAP. Now, back to Seneca. Now, the thing about ego is this. When I go to my Latin dance classes, there's always these cunts. And I use cunt very narrowly, not broadly, because it's a very specific thing I'm talking about. It's these girls who are not very good at dancing, but they complain, right? They'll be in a very, very basic, by the way, I'm very emotional about this, so you're about to hear a damn fucking irate rant. These girls, they don't know how to dance. They're not like sexual or sensual or anything like that, but they're gonna complain. They're gonna say shit like, I'm bored. This is a basic class. One teacher told me to hold hand like this. Another one is saying like this. Or this cunt from yesterday, when I was doing the 5, 6, 7, I was setting up the spin, and then I would turn her on 1, 2, 3, and she's like, the teacher told me not to turn backwards. I'm like, you're not turning backwards, fucking asshole. Anyway, so you're always gonna see people like that with an ego. Now, When it comes to risk taking and decision making, and you want to know why I was able to become the leader of all those tribes, because I fucking left my ego at the fucking door. Sorry for the fucks. I try not to say those, but I'm really angry right now. So when I went to RSD, a fucking week after I finished my thesis, what did I do? I had no ego. I wasn't like, oh, I'm a PhD, I'm a neuroscience expert, I'm an intellectual, I'm very smart, I've read all these books about neuroscience and brain and health and science. No, I don't know shit. I don't know anything. Teach me, Todd. Teach me, Tyler. Teach me, Julian. Teach me, Ozzy. Teach me, Jeffy. Teach me, Alex. At the time we had Alex. All these, right? Teach me, teach me, teach me. Michael Sartain. And that no ego mindset, that beginner's mindset, being coachable, like Michael Jordan is the most coachable player ever. LeBron James is the most coachable player ever because they leave their fucking ego at the door. If you are an expert at something and you switch fields and you enter into a realm where you don't know anything, leave your ego at the door. You know nothing. Immerse yourself. Listen to them. When I go Latin dancing, I have no ego. I listen, I get coached, I lead, I follow, I listen, I pay close attention. When I'm already in level 2 for salsa and bachata. But when I go back to level 1, I pay attention. I try to look in the mirror. I try to move my hips better. I try to do those fundamental basic moves better and better and better. When I get to level 5, I'm still gonna come to level 1. Because you always want to learn and you always want to have the beginner's mindset. So if you're one of those cunts who goes to Latin dancing class and has an ego because you grew up in some Persian or some kind of fucking culture that is intellectual and you were spoiled like a fucking brat, with some rich kids and some rich parents and have fucking trust funds, fuck you. Okay? You need to leave your ego at the door always. Leave your ego at the door, especially when you're doing something you don't know anything about. You look at me, when I went to Elliott Hulse, I stayed at the gym. I lived at the gym for 8 months. You want to know how I did it? You want to be like me? Then leave your ego at the door. You know nothing. Nada. Rien. Niente. Kuch nahi. Kuch nahi. That's Hindi. Kuch nahi. Yeah, man. And be happy, or woman, and be happy with it. Like, be happy not having an ego. And even if you're in a field that you know everything about, don't have an ego. Be a beginner. You don't know anything. None of us know anything. Woman, man. Anyway, that's my rant for 13 minutes, Jesus. What do you think about these rants, by the way? You want shorter videos, 2 minute, 4 minute? Fuck you. You're gonna get what I give. Anyway, that's it. I talked about the ego, Seneca. Go look him up. I urge you, blow your mind. We talked about Seneca. We talked about egos. Leave it at the door and go do Latin dancing, man. Move your body like this. And you want to be able to do stuff like that. It's dope. Like, you really want to, yesterday I just learned how to move my hips the correct way in bachata. After like a month of dancing, I finally learned. I'm so happy. I love moving my hips. And yesterday I was a follower. That was very interesting. I was like on the other side. So I was being led by guys, and I was like turning, and it was so cool, so easy. So once you learn the basics, do the other part, right? So you can really become an expert. It was pretty nice. In any case, that's the video. Yeah, what can I say? Enjoy. Oh, and add your fucking ass to the Facebook group. Biggest balls in the game.